So, confirmed today, more steel plants are going. TATA already let it be known, TATA Steel, that Scunthorpe was going to be going. I covered that in another video piece, but Scunthorpe's now definitely going, and it's no surprise that at the same time they announced that Cambuslang and Motherwell plants in Scotland are going. They're smaller affairs, but that's because they're a different thing. They run the steel through mills to make it into plate, and in other words, they do secondary jobs. So the Scunthorpe mill, the Scunthorpe Steelworks, feeds the mills up in Scotland. So if you kill one, you kill the others, and the primary thing is the Scunthorpe steel plant. If you decide that that's the end for that, which they have, I think it's 3.2 million tonnes per annum of steel it produced to go up to Cambuslang, Motherwell, just on the edge of Glasgow, really, to feed those places, and that's 400 jobs or so up there, and it's 1,200 jobs or something in Scunthorpe. So I've said a fair bit in the other pieces about this, but it's because of the flood of Chinese steel, and it's just so cheap for the Chinese to make this stuff because they don't have to worry about what kind of energy they've got. They don't have to worry about a lot of health and safety. I would imagine is very secondary for them. They won't have unionisation to speak of. It's a very cheap import because they have very cheap methods of production and they don't have the extra costs, I would guess, that we have. So that is goodbye now to half the steel industry in Britain. That leaves us with the inevitable conclusion that the government does do what everybody does in difficult times. So the government can talk about recovery and all that stuff, economic recovery all at once. This proves that you're moving southwards now with big bits of infrastructure. It used to be the industrial north, and now they're being greedy for jobs in the south, and they want these jobs to stay south. So they'll let stuff go hang in the north, and quietly, I say this is what they'll do, I believe it's what they'll do, you hunker back to your core. In other words, the south of England, which is where the government is, it wants to keep things around it relatively solid and safe. So you look at the map now, and there's no steel plant or works going to go on north of Port Talbot, the bottom end of Wales. There's nothing going to be going on steel-wise, steel production to speak of beyond there. I think there's something still going on in Sheffield, I think, but that's it. You've got, I think it's a secondary plant of some sort that might be there that produces plate or something, but it's a relatively small-scale affair. Sheffield isn't the steel place it once was, and it just shows that the north of England is no longer of that much interest. So hence you get a lot of talk from George Osborne, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, about the Northern Powerhouse. It is of course bullshit, and he talks a lot because there's very little action going on. It's like the X Factor. If you've seen the X Factor, you know when someone's going to be rubbish because there's loads of talk goes on about them. Quite often, loads of talk goes on about them and stuff, and a big build-up, and then they're rubbish when they're actually singing. Well, George Osborne is talking a lot because he's not actually getting anything to deliver. So Northern Powerhouse, blah blah. He'd rather sink things into big white elephants like High Speed 2 and some mythical runway that may or may not happen, and the super duper power station that may or may not work or may or may not have a meltdown in Hinckley, which of course is in the Bristol Channel. So as I said in the other video, get yourself a map, draw a line from Bristol in the west up to Norwich in the east, stay within commuting distance of that, and you might just have 2 jobs in a row. That's how it is. saving their own. That's what the government are going to do. They're in London, everything's London-centric. Draw that line on the map, get below there, and don't move out of it, because that's the only way you'll get 2 jobs in a row. Thanks for watching and listening.